Man, my faith in humanity just keeps getting lower and lower. Nowadays, it's in the negatives. So what's got me so pessimistic about the world? Well, look no further than into Twitter, the site that's most well known for hosting the most intellectual, honest, and nuanced discussions worldwide. So we have some people on Twitter who are shitting on the executive producer for Tekken 8. Now you're probably thinking, what did he do? Did he say something crazy online? Did he run somebody over? Did he kill somebody? What's going on here? Nope, he didn't do any of those things. He did something way worse. He committed a cardinal sin of the worst degree. This racist Japanese jerk had the audacity to not add enough black characters. I know, it's awful, but save your pitchforks and torches for the end of the video, please. Now these tweets highlight a different social issue. They beg questions like, what is diversity, and why do companies push it so often? Also, is diversity a good thing? No. There, I just saved you 8 minutes. I'm joking. Strap in, because I'm about to get into this. Alright man, I'm just gonna preface this and say that I'm not one of those dudes that are on the internet constantly going over woke stuff, saying the same crap 10 times in a row like, look at this is woke, this is based, this is woke, based. Like, no, that's not me, dude. If you want that boring binary shit, there's tons of content like that throughout the interwebs, you know, you can find it. But yeah. So now that that's out of the way, let's rip this apart. Well, this all started when a furry that goes by the name of Unapologetically Black on Twitter stated in a tweet that, quote-unquote, the only reason why Eddie Gordo hasn't been revealed yet is because the creators of Tekken are racist, and they don't care about black characters or dark-skinned people. So it's gonna be a while until real fighters come out instead of these whites, Latins, and Asians. So this guy's already off to a good start. First he's saying that there's no black characters, even though there's a couple of black characters that have already been revealed. And he's also a furry, and part of the LGBTQ. And black. So this dude's living life on insane difficulty, dude. It'd be so easy to bully him with the amount of ammo he's giving me. But, you know, I'm a mature guy. I'm gonna lay off it. I'm just gonna try to take his point at face value, no matter how bad it might be. So first off, nobody owes you anything. Just because you're a black guy, that doesn't mean that other people have to change their game to suit your race. You know, something about me personally is that I am a black guy. My real name's not actually Bryce. It's actually Byranius Jaquan Curtis IV. And you know, as a cultured brother right here, and I'm gonna tell you right now that if you're so hyper-fixated about shoehorning as many black characters into whatever media you consume, if you care about that, then you're kind of a loser, okay? Enough said. So anyway, this tweet got a lot of backlash, rightfully so, and would you look who responded to the tweet? None other than Katsuhiro Hardara? I'm sorry, I'm not good with names. Anyway, the executive producer of Tekken. So he responds and he completely rips this guy a new asshole. So he says, if you think you can just claim anything that way and it will pass, you are mistaken. Leroy and Raven will kick your ass. Come to think of it, there are no Japanese characters in American dramas and movies that I love, but I've never felt discriminated against because of it. What do you think is the crucial difference between you and me? I'm sure you don't understand. You're not logical at all. You're simply a delusional person who doesn't even realize that even if it were an emotional argument, it still doesn't make sense. There's really nothing to add here, you just straight facts. You just spin straight facts. Now with Haruda completely decimating this guy from existence, you'd probably think it'd be all over here. But hold your horses, we got another member of the Butthurt Battalion, here to throw in another brain-dead take. And it looks like we upgraded a bit here. We went from black gay furry to a quote-unquote self-proclaimed Afro-feminist who's an fans model and a literal prostitute. And I don't mean this in a way like she's wearing scantily clad outfits or whatever in her pictures, so she's a dude. No, she is a literal prostitute. She's got an email for inquiries. Can't make this shit up. So anyways, let's check out her enlightened opinion on this matter. She says, this take is not logical. It flies in the face of numerous studies that have shown the importance of diversity in the media we consume. Hardara-san, your sole experience doesn't refute the established sociological studies re the reality of anti-blackness being reflected in media creation. So this study just does not exist. I've scoured the internet for it, I've asked AIs, I've asked the whole universe. Where the fuck can I find a study called The Reality of Anti-Blackness Being Reflected in Media Creation? The source literally came from a crack pipe. You just made shit up. Oh wait, never mind, she might be right. Because a new study just came out right here that states the subscribers of Bryce BSK reportedly have a dick that's 3 times the national average. Damn, I didn't know that. Shit. Might as well subscribe, am I right? Okay, anyway. She continues by saying, trying to use your singular experience to dismiss justified concern over the lack of black characters within the 30 years of your IP has existed is nonsensical, tone deaf, and pernicious. It also further proves that internalized racism towards black people remains a global phenomenon.
not just regulated to the US.
So yeah, it's honestly just really funny that she tries to completely disregard his quote-unquote singular experience while referencing the schizophrenic demons that are talking to her in her head as a source. So yeah, she's just a poor victim of racism because there's not enough black characters in a game that she wants to play, or probably doesn't even want to play. She just wants to complain about it, to be real. But anyway, this got a lot of backlash, deservingly so, and Harada actually responded to this one too. He completely nukes her ass. You, blank, said, quote, the lack of black characters within the 30 years that your IP has existed. Why don't you say so clearly what is not true? Why don't you do more research before you say it? It's very tiring. At least a little Google search would help me understand. And if you do a little Google search, you will see that there are black characters in Tekken. And that's not all. There's also Japanese characters, Chinese characters, Brazilian characters, bears. There's everything, man. To say that there's no representation in Tekken is nothing but sheer ignorance. But I'm guessing that this person is so blinded by their own race that they probably don't even care about other races being represented. It's all about her. So anyway, that's all the juicy bits about the Hadara stuff. But honestly, did this woman have a point? Is there any kind of value that comes with diversity? Well, to know that, first you gotta know, what is diversity? So it's essentially the depiction of different races, cultures, ethnicities, political beliefs, etc. So that's the scholarly definition. But in practice, this really just boils down to trying to shoehorn as many minorities into media as possible, even if it doesn't make sense contextually or historically. Some hilarious examples of this are things like Black Elves and Black Cleopatra. I'm sure you heard of this one, man. So basically, Netflix was doing a show on Cleopatra and they decided to cast her as a black woman. Now, if your brain is the size of a peanut, you're probably thinking to yourself right now, isn't Cleopatra black because Egypt is in Africa? No, she's Macedonian Greek with Persian and Sogdian Iranian descent. It's just silly, man. It's just silly and a little sad. The value that diversity gives to any kind of media is slim to none. If you are above the age of 12, and the main thing you like about a character is that they're the same race as you, if you're that much of a weirdo, then you have lost the plot. Who gives a flying fuck if you're quote-unquote represented? Do you gotta be black to fully enjoy the characters in Black Panther? Fuck no. And do you have to be white to enjoy the Witcher game, which exclusively has white characters? Again, no. The need to feel racially represented is so worthless. It adds zero value to any kind of media. The only thing that it does do is it appeals to people who are obsessed with their own race. So I'm just gonna say this. Any person, black, white, Chinese, Japanese, Taiwanese, Indian, whatever you are, when you're evaluating a piece of media, the very last thing you should even glance at is how many characters in that media share the same race as you. Because not only is that really weird, there's also a gajillion different things that are far more important than that. So that's why modern day diversity is worthless. It adds no value, and it only exists to appeal to racially obsessed weirdos. But can it be done right? You're gonna be surprised to hear that, yes, diversity can be done right. It just never is. Now I know what you're thinking. Didn't you just say that diversity has no value? Well, I was talking about modern day diversity, but that's not what diversity is, and that's not what it should be. In my opinion, the perfect amount of diversity is prevalent in old games. You see, in a lot of the games from my generation, the main character was typically white, there's a lot of white supporting characters, and we had a little bit of minority sprinkled in there every now and again. And this gets a whole lot of scrutiny from left-leaning consumers nowadays. But what they have to realize is that, for one, this isn't a bad thing. And for two, this wasn't an attempt to try to promote white supremacy or whatever the fuck your crazy mind thinks. It was really just a reflection of demographics. When the game's based in America, of course the main character is probably going to be white, because a lot of Americans are white. And a lot of the supporting characters are probably going to be white too. But guess what? We also have some black characters, we also have some Asian characters. Obviously they're not going to be as prevalent as the white characters, but that's not because of some ingrained internal racism or whatever the fuck. It's really just because that's how it is demographically. And that's okay. In my opinion, that's the perfect amount of diversity. Realistic diversity. Not that weird shit where we're in a medieval European setting. We got Tyrese over here like, hey yo, what's good, King Arthur? Hey man, I see you pull that sword from the stone, bruh. That shit was lit. Don't forget a nigga when you big, bruh. Like, yeah, that kind of just takes away from the experience. I'm not going to pretend like I'm hurt every time there's a mismatch in the races and it's not historically accurate, because I don't really give that much of a fuck. It's just really fucking annoying. Because we have these companies that are trying as hard as they can to pander to as many people as they can. They're trying to sell as many copies as possible. And when this encourages historical inaccuracy, this really just grinds my gears. Because I love history, and to see them do my favorite middle school subject like that is just an abomination. So yeah, in essence, diversity is usually worthless. Old school diversity is a lot better. Don't complain about not having enough characters that represent your race because you're a fucking loser if you do that. And yeah, that's about it. And also, if you're still listening, man, you must be really interested in what I have to say. So, I mean, you might as well just join the Discord, be a certified dick rider. But, yeah, bye.